Hi, Daddy checking in. For those, my name's Adam, and most of you know that I am a pastor. I don't take any pay to pastor. That's the way I work for the Lord. But and so of course we make a living farming. But I'm a teacher and I guess preacher at heart. I just wanted to share a little thought I had with you, and I won't get real preachy at you, but I'm here waiting for a truck to show up. I've got a delivery, and you can see it's awful gloomy, and it's awful gloomy and wet. And for me personally, it's pretty demoralizing because there's stuff I want to do. I gotta finish fixing that shed, and got to do with that shed, and there's work to do on that, and there's a lot of work to do on that, and just everywhere I look, there's work to do. And it's just hard to get out in the mud, in the wind, in the cold. And here we are, second week of April, and we're still 20 degree wind chills and wet, snowing this morning. And so weather can kind of be gloomy. So I wanted to offer some thoughts and challenge everybody just a little bit, because I've noticed, I've done a lot of counseling, marriage counseling, personal counseling. And if you will notice, a lot of life's problems start little and get big, and they start somewhere else and end up somewhere else. What that I mean by that is that I see and I notice and I help people realize when I'm counseling, a lot of their issues are because of something else. For instance, and here's an easy one that we can all relate to. By the end of the day, when we're getting tired and we're getting hungry, you can say the term is hangry. Then you get irritable and you start letting things slip, and maybe saying stuff disrespectfully or unkind or thinking poorly about others. And my goal, my encouragement is catch yourself when you're doing that, and realize there's a lot of times, especially in marriages, when you're irritated at your spouse or you're taking exception to something that they said, and you're taking exception to it because you're a little more irritable, edgy, because of that tiredness or that hunger, or you didn't sleep good last night. So, and that goes both ways. You could maybe be sympathetic to somebody and realize, they've had a tough day. They're tired, they're hungry, and you can start understanding that they're speaking out of hunger. But if you're hungry or you're tired or you've had some other issues, you need to truly realize that you're probably not nearly as annoyed with that person or that situation as you think you are in that moment. And my children have learned early in life that, especially dealing with each other, dealing with life, that there's a lot of times when on one day you can have a situation and it won't bother you a bit, and the next day it will drive you crazy. For instance, maybe the oldest girl will get a little bit easier to be irritated at her littlest brother on one day, and this is real, and she said to me, I think I'm just easily annoyed today, and I'm annoyed at Lemuel, and I don't think it's fair to be annoyed at him. I think I'm just looking for something to be annoyed at, and deep down I think I'm just trying to find a reason to feel gloomy and irritable, and that stuck to him. And that's incredible wisdom for a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl to show that she's not really irritated. Now, most 13, 14, 15-year-old girls, they would cause an issue. They would find some reason to feel icky, have a bad attitude. And here's the lesson. You don't have to have a reason to feel gloomy. Don't find a reason to be angry. Don't find it. And that's what happens in marriages. You'll have one or the other spouse they've had a hard day or something, and they don't really realize that they're looking for a reason to be annoyed, and then they will find a reason to be annoyed. And sometimes everybody goes through it. Sometimes in life, you're just in a mood to be annoyed. You're just in that zone. And if you're not careful, you will find a reason to be annoyed. And that's not fair to whatever reason you're annoyed. You know, Jill and I, we went through that phase early in marriage that what few arguments we had, they really weren't over what we were arguing about. It was, you know what? I'm just not sleeping good. The babies are keeping us awake. This and that. I'm hungry. I'm tired. My back hurts. Right now, this weather, that's enough to put me in a funk. And if I didn't know no better, I would go inside and I'd find a reason to blame my children for my funk, or blame my wife for my bad attitude, and take it out on them, or use them to justify my attitude. Here's the encouragement. Don't use other people to justify your poor attitude. Sometimes it's okay to have a poor attitude. I tell people it's perfectly. Sometimes my wife comes to me. She says, I'm just a little off. Sometimes I go to my wife and she'll say, what's wrong? I say, nothing. I says, well, you're a little uptight, she says. I say, I don't know, I'm just a little uptight. But when you're a little uptight, just recognize it. Don't find a reason to justify your bad attitude. That's not fair to whatever reason you're putting it on. And right now, I could get irritated at a few things. But you know what? The real reason for my irritation today is, my bad attitude today is, this weather. And it's gotten me in a bad mood. But we got a truck coming. He was supposed to be here tomorrow. He shouldn't be here today in the rain. He shouldn't make me get out and wait for him. I'm waiting for him. And I could get mad at this trucker. But I'm not. I'm primed and ready to get mad. I'm set up to get mad just because I'm already in a bad mood because of the weather here in the middle of April. But I recognize that. And I say, hey, that's not very fair to take it out on that poor trucker before he's even here. I don't know what his situation is. Just because I'm already in a kind of a bad attitude because of the weather. So here's the rest of the crew. Hope I didn't get too preachy at you. And just try to be fair with who you're using to justify your poor attitude. Sometimes you're hungry, tired, cold, or the weather's bad. Don't take it out on people. Don't use others to justify bad attitude.